0347 hours local time. Estonian border patrol goes silent. 3 vehicles, 12 soldiers. Radio contact lost. Command checks satellite feed. Nothing. Thermal imaging shows heat signatures fading. Something happened in the forest. The Estonian Defense Forces alert Tallinn. Tallinn alerts Brussels. Brussels wakes up 32 nations. This is Global Conflict Room, where alliance decisions are made under impossible pressure. The patrol was 4 kilometers inside Estonian territory, not disputed ground, not gray zone, sovereign NATO soil. The Estonian Situation Center activates emergency protocols. They call it Code Red. Every NATO member receives the same message within 90 seconds. Possible Article 5 scenario. Russian forces suspected. No confirmation yet. The clock starts now. Article 5 of the North Atlantic Treaty is absolute. An attack on one is an attack on all. But it requires confirmation. It requires evidence. It requires a decision that could trigger the largest military response since 1945. The German Chancellor receives the call at 0351 hours. The French President is pulled from a state dinner. The British Prime Minister enters the Cobra room. The U.S. President boards Marine One for immediate transport. 32 leaders, 6 hours to decide. Was this an attack or an accident or a provocation designed to test resolve? Estonian intelligence reviews border camera footage from the last hour before contact was lost. Frame-by-frame analysis. At 0312 hours, a thermal bloom appears on the Russian side. Artillery fire. Confirmed. 3 rounds. Direct hits on patrol route. The vehicles never had a chance. The soldiers never returned fire. This was not a firefight. This was elimination. Estonian military command presents evidence to NATO Supreme Allied Commander Europe. The footage is clear. The trajectory is certain. The origin point is mapped. Russian artillery position inside Pskov Oblast, 6 kilometers from the border. The Estonian defense minister makes the formal request at 0421 hours. Invoke Article 5. The NATO Secretary General convenes an emergency session of the North Atlantic Council. Virtual attendance, secure channels, every ambassador present. The evidence is shown. The artillery strike is undeniable, but questions remain. Was this ordered by Moscow or executed by a local commander? Was this intentional escalation or catastrophic miscalculation? Does Russia know what they have triggered? What should command do first? A. Deploy NATO forces immediately. B. Demand Russian explanation first. C. Activate defenses but hold fire. The decision window narrows. Estonian forces are mobilizing. The 1st Infantry Brigade moves toward the border. The Cyber Defense Unit goes to maximum alert. They expect Russian electronic warfare. They expect jamming. They expect attacks on critical infrastructure. At 0445 hours, the first Russian response arrives. Not through diplomatic channels, through action. Russian Aerospace Forces aircraft enter Estonian airspace. 4 Su-35 fighters, flying low, fast, testing response time. Estonian air defense tracks them. F-16s from the Baltic air policing mission scramble. Polish and German pilots. They intercept at 0449 hours. The Russian fighters turn back. No shots fired. But the message is clear. Russia is not backing down. This is Global Conflict Room. Inside the room where history changes. The North Atlantic Council debates in real time. The Baltic states demand immediate response. Article 5 is not optional. It is treaty obligation. Poland supports full activation. Germany urges caution. Verify intent before escalation. France proposes a 48-hour diplomatic window. The United States presents military options. Option 1. Deploy the NATO response force. 8,000 troops. Air and naval support. Arrival time 18 hours. This is deterrence. Show of commitment. No direct engagement unless attacked. Option 2. activate the Enhanced Forward Presence battle groups already in Estonia. Canadian-led force, British and French units attached. Move them to defensive positions. Prepare for Russian follow-up. Option 3. Full Article 5 activation. Multi-domain response, air superiority operations, naval blockade of Kaliningrad, cyber counterstrike. This is war. The Estonian representative speaks. 12 soldiers are dead on our soil by Russian artillery. Article 5 is not ambiguous. We invoke it now. The room divides. Eastern flank nations back Estonia without hesitation. Western European members calculate risks. Turkey questions intelligence verification. The United States calls for a vote. At 0534 hours, NATO agrees. Article 5 is activated, first time since September 11, 2001, but with conditions. Proportional response, defensive posture, no strikes into Russian territory without further provocation. The NATO response force receives deployment orders. The Enhanced Forward Presence battle groups move to combat readiness. Allied air forces increase patrols over Baltic airspace. Naval forces in the Baltic Sea go to alert condition 2. U.S. destroyers armed with Aegis systems position near Kaliningrad. This is the first layer. Necessary deterrence or dangerous escalation. The question echoes in every command center from Washington to Warsaw. Russia responds at 0612 hours, not with diplomacy, with deployment. The 6th Combined Arms Army activates in the Leningrad Military District. Tank battalions roll west, artillery brigades reposition. The 11th Army Corps in Kaliningrad increases readiness. Russian Northern Fleet submarines leave port. The Black Sea Fleet moves through the Bosphorus into the Mediterranean. Moscow issues a statement. Russia does not recognize the Estonian territorial claim in the border area. The patrol entered contested ground. Russian forces acted in self-defense. This is false. Satellite data proves it, but Russia creates narrative space. Plausible deniability, fog of war. They bet NATO will hesitate. The cyber attacks begin at 0638 hours. Estonian government networks go dark. Power grid fluctuations in Tallinn. Banking systems disrupted. This is hybrid warfare. Russia's signature. NATO Cyber Operations Center responds. Counter-intrusion teams deploy digital defenses. U.S. Cyber Command provides support. The attacks are contained, but the message lands. Russia can hurt Estonia without firing another shot. Which system activates first in a missile alert? A. Radar networks. B. Satellites. C. Command link. At 0721 hours, Russian Iskander missile systems deploy near the Estonian border. Mobile launchers, short-range ballistic capability. They can hit Tallinn in 4 minutes. NATO satellites track every movement. The Supreme Allied Commander presents updated threat assessment. Russia is establishing escalation dominance. They are betting NATO will not risk full confrontation over a border incident. Estonian leadership demands action. The 1st Infantry Brigade is outnumbered 5-1 by Russian forces across the border. Without NATO reinforcement, Estonia falls in 72 hours. The American president authorizes deployment of the 82nd Airborne Division. Rapid deployment, Estonia within 12 hours. The British commit the 16th Air Assault Brigade. Germany pledges the Rapid Response Forces Division. France sends Rafale fighters and the Charles de Gaulle carrier group to the Baltic approaches. Poland mobilizes 2 mechanized divisions. This is not a drill anymore. This is force generation for potential war. The Russian Ministry of Defense issues a warning at 0803 hours. Any NATO forces entering the conflict zone will be considered hostile. Russia reserves the right to use all means of defense. The phrase is deliberate, all means. Nuclear ambiguity, strategic messaging. The threat hangs over every decision. At 0847 hours, a second incident occurs. A Russian electronic warfare unit jams GPS signals across the Baltics. Commercial aviation disrupted. Military systems switch to backup navigation. This is infrastructure attack. This is escalation. NATO cyber forces identify the jamming source. Ground-based system near Pskov, the same area as the artillery strike. Targeting data is generated. Strike package prepared, but the order does not come. NATO leadership debates the threshold. Is jamming an armed attack? Does it justify kinetic response? The lawyers argue. The generals wait. At 0934 hours, the situation shifts. A Russian patrol boat fires warning shots at a German frigate in international waters near Gotland. The frigate does not return fire. It maintains course, but it activates weapons systems. Lock on, ready. The German captain requests rules of engagement clarification. Berlin authorizes defensive fire only. If you follow Global Conflict Analysis Type GCR, the crisis escalates faster than diplomacy can contain it. Every Russian move prompts NATO counter-move. Every NATO deployment triggers Russian escalation. The Baltic Sea becomes the most dangerous body of water on Earth. Submarines hunt submarines. Aircraft shadow aircraft. One mistake, one miscalculation, one aggressive pilot or nervous ship captain, and the shooting war begins. At 10:48 hours, the NATO Secretary General opens a direct line to the Russian Minister of Defense. Back channel, no press, no recording. The conversation lasts 11 minutes. NATO proposes a mutual stand-down. Russian forces withdraw from the border area. NATO pauses reinforcement deployments. A UN observer mission investigates the initial incident. Neutral arbitration. The Russian response is immediate. No. Estonia must acknowledge the border dispute. NATO must reverse Article 5 activation. Russian forces will remain in defensive posture. These are non-negotiable terms. The diplomatic channel closes. At 11:29 hours, the first NATO reinforcements land in Estonia. C-17 transports carrying the 82nd Airborne Lead elements. They deploy directly to Tapa Air Base. Apache helicopters provide security. Patriot missile batteries arrive by rail from Germany. The Estonian capital gains air defense coverage. Russian strategic aviation responds. Tu-95 bombers fly toward NATO airspace from bases deep in Russia. They carry cruise missiles. They are escorted by fighters. NATO scrambles interceptors from 5 nations. The bombers turn back at the boundary. This is theater. Demonstration of capability, reminder of stakes. What decision would you make in that room? At 13:12 hours, intelligence reports a Russian buildup across multiple sectors, not just the Estonian border, forces massing near Latvia, naval activity near Lithuania. This is not about one patrol anymore. This is testing the entire eastern flank. NATO realizes the strategy. Russia is forcing simultaneous crisis management, stretching alliance resources, creating decision paralysis. At 14:07 hours, the breakthrough comes from an unexpected source. The Chinese Foreign Ministry issues a statement, calling for restraint from all parties, offering to mediate. Beijing has economic interests in both Russia and Europe. A Baltic war threatens global trade. Chinese pressure on Moscow is subtle but real. The Russian position softens marginally at 15:34 hours. Moscow proposes a 72-hour freeze. Both sides hold current positions. UN investigation proceeds. Further talks in Geneva. NATO leadership caucuses. The cost of saying yes is accepting Russian terms under duress. The cost of saying no is potential war. The vote is close, but consensus emerges. NATO accepts the freeze, but with conditions. Russian forces must withdraw to pre-crisis positions within the 72 hours. Any hostile action voids the agreement. Article 5 remains active. At 16:12 hours, the guns go silent. Forces remain in place. Tensions remain critical, but the immediate escalation stops. The Estonian patrol still lies dead in the forest. Justice delayed. But World War prevented, for now. This is Global Conflict Room, where global war decisions are made. The lessons are stark. Article 5 works only if credible, but credibility requires willingness to fight. And willingness to fight requires accepting unthinkable risk. Every NATO member understood that in those 6 hours. Was escalation avoidable? Could Russia have been deterred earlier? Who bears responsibility for 12 dead soldiers? Subscribe to Global Conflict Room, inside the room where history changes.